Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's DAF, KIDDUSHIN Samach Ches. We are holding on line number 4 off the top of the Amud Michti. Let's take a closer look at this question, which we began to discuss yesterday. We're looking for the source, a mokar. How do we know that if one is mekadesh, a relative, that kiddushin takes no effect? There's no chalos kiddushin by a kare, by an erva. So yesterday we had the hekesh of Rabbi Yehuda who says, well, the pasuk ties all the arayas together, and just like we know by achos isha, that's a given, wife's sister, no kiddushin. There's a pasuk for that. Likewise, all other relatives cannot accept kiddushin. They're not eligible for kiddushin. Now, on the other hand, we had some exceptions to the rule. For instance, nida. An isha nida is a candidate for kiddushin. So kiddushin can take effect by an isha even if she's a nida. So now the question is, on one side of the equation we have achos isha, where it's an established fact, no kiddushin. On the other side of the scale we have nida, who can accept kiddushin. So now when we look at the other relatives, the other arayis, who says we should choose to equate them to achos isha and say that kiddushin is not teifes? Perhaps let's compare them to nida, and kiddushin will be teifes like by nida. Asks the Gemara on the 4th line off the top. Michti, let's take a closer look at this sugya. Ikola kusha li nida. Other relatives can be compared to nida. Kiddushin is teifes. V'ikola kusha lachos isha, or compare it to achos isha. Kiddushin is not teifes. Who says? To which one to compare? My chazes. Why do you prefer the makshas lo lachos isha to connect it to achos isha and say no? Actual nida connected to nida and say yes. The answer is, whenever we have a hekesh with a choice of two possible connections, we connect it l'chumra. Kula v'chumra, l'chumra makshinan. We say, well, just like by achos isha, there's no kiddushin. In which case, any child generated from that relationship is a mamzer. Likewise, all other arayas carry that same consequence. So this ends the first track. The source for no kiddushin by arayas is achos isha. Here comes another option. Rav Acha bar Yaakov Amar. We have another source. Asya b'kal v'chomer miYevama. We learn it through kal v'chomer from Yevama. Uma Yevama shehi b'lav. Since we find by Yevama, lo yisiya eish hasameis achutza liish zar, an isha whose husband died without children must wait for the Yavam to address her. She can't go marry a stranger. There's a lav involved, and we know lo tafsi bo kiddushin. Kiddushin cannot even take effect by her. Lo yisiya means there's no havai, there's no becoming one, there's no marriage option by Yevama to anybody else except for the Yavam, and therefore it's only a lav, and still no kiddushin. Certainly the other arayas, which are heavier, which are more severe, chayavei misais, v'chayavei krisis, other arayas which carry misas bezin consequence or karas consequence, like oshken, of course, kiddushin cannot take effect. Okay, so that's another makar for this halach. Well, if you're learning from Yevama, who's a chayavei lavin, there's an issa lav there, and no kiddushin is teifes. So perhaps other chayavei lavin as well. Don't limit it to just kares or misas bezin. Even an isha who's usher by way of a lav should also have the same value. Amar papa chayavei lavin, no, that cannot be included. Anybody except for any chayavei lavin except for Yevama is not included in this halacha. We have a clear pasuk to tell us that kiddushin can take effect by an isha who's iser b'lav. The pasuk says, "Kisiyana leish shtei nashim." If one is married to two women, ha'achas ahuva, ha'achas isno, one liked and one disliked. And the pasuk says, don't discriminate in terms of the women's children. They're both entitled to equal Yerusha. Now the question is, why do we reckon with like and dislike? We're speaking about the way Hashem relates to people, right? their essence, their true value, v'chiyesh senor lefnei hamokim, with respect to Hashem. Is there such a concept of an isha who's disliked? Why would Hashem be why is that a factor at play when it comes to halachis? V'ahuva lefnei hamokim, more liked? Ella, rather, we're speaking about something which is inherent to the actual marriage, a positive marriage, or a marriage which carries negative elements spiritually. Ella ahuva means ahuva b'nesu'eha. One woman is liked, meaning her marriage is proper. She's mutter to him. Snua means snua b'nesu'eha. Her marriage is improper. There was an isser transgressed via this marriage. That's what we're speaking about. So, meaning that this man transgressed an isser to marry this woman. And still the pasuk says, "V'kamar Rachman kisiyena." The pasuk relates to them as his wives. Kisiyena li'ishtei nashim. So, despite the fact that there's an isser involved, isser lav does not preempt kiddushin. Well, says the Gemara, Rabbi Kiva, the Amar ain't kiddushin toifsim chayav elav. Rabbi Kiva clearly states otherwise. There's a lav, there's no kiddushin. Kisiyena b'may mukim. So, when the pasuk speaks about an isha who's deficient in her marriage, there's something inferior, something lacking. There's an isser, and still she's married. What's it talking about? That's an exception. A kohen gadol marries an almana. We're going to see in a minute why. How do we know that? There, even though it's a lav, and even though Rabbi Kiva says, yes, lav, no kedushin, but this is different. And that's the case over there with the ahuva and the snua. Almana will marry a kohen gadol. So the marriage takes effect despite the fact that it's Isser Lav. Well, that's not agreed upon by all. Rabbi Simoy, 1 second. This is Rabbi Simoy's opinion of Rabbi Kiva's Shita. The Sanya Rabbi Simoy Eimer Min HaKoil. With respect to every Isser Lav, Haya Rabbi Kiva Oisa Mamzer. Rabbi Kiva would consider that marriage a non-starter, no Kedushin, and any child generated as a Mamzer. Except, Chutz Ma'amonel Kohen Gadol. You know why? The Torah specifies, Shari Amra Torah Lo Yechalal. Don't marry the Almana because you're going to bring chilul to your children. We learn from here chilulim oise vein oise mamzerus. The child may be a chal, but it's not going to be a mamzer. Apparently, kiddushin takes effect. So even Rabbi Kiva agrees there's exception to the rule. Almana and godless kiddushin can be chal. And that's the case of the pasuk kisiyena isha snua. There's an isser, but there is kiddushin. Well, not all agree to this interpretation of Rabbi Kiva. Well, Rabbi Shevav, for instance, the Amar who said Rabbi Kiva extends his principle to even this case. The Amar Bayu and Tzaveach, Allah Kiva ben Yosef, let's call out on Rabbi Kiva. Shaya Omer, he would say, he would extend. Haya Omer, Shaya Omer kol she'en lo biya bi Yisrael havav mamza. Any type of isser in marriage generates a mamzer. Now, how far did Rabbi Shevav take this? Hanichal Rabbi Shevav ila fuki midrab Simai ka'asi shaper. Now, if Rabbi Shevav was simply responding to Rabbi Simai, who said that, well, Aman al-Kain Gadol, Kiddushin is Taifis, and he comes and says, no, I happen to know that Rabbi Kiva includes even that type of case, and says even Aman al-Kain Gadol, Kiddushin is not Taifis. He was just coming to challenge Rabbi Simai, trying to undo Rabbi Simai. But even Rabbi Shevav would agree that when it comes to, let's say, a lower level Isser, like Isser Asay, not only Asay, an Asay, there, even Rabbi Kiva would agree Kiddushin can apply. So then, we can apply the pasuk of Kisiyena, the Ish Shteinashim Achas Snua, in a case where a man transgressed an Isser Asay to marry this Isha. Let's say, he married a Mitzris and a Doimis within, the first 3 generations, or a Kohen Gadol married an Isha who's not a Basula. These are all Isurei Asay. So there, it's improper, but the Kiddushin takes effect. Shaper. But perhaps if Rabbi Yeshevav was just stating his own independent interpretation of Rabbi Kiva, a standalone statement, not in response to anybody else. He was just saying, Rabbi Poiseh, you should know that Rabbi Kiva is very strict. Any type of improper marriage cannot tolerate Kiddushin. Now we're stuck. So what is that pasuk speaking about? Any type of Isser doesn't work. Generates no Kiddush. We have one option. A Kohen Gadol married an Isha who had already interacted with a man. She's not a Basula. There's an Isser Asay, but that's a lighter Isser Asay. And over there, even Rabbi Kiva would agree. This is one exception. Rabbi Kiva would agree. Yes, Isser, but yes, Kiddushin as well. Umayshna. Why would that be different than in any other Asay or Lois Asay in the Torah? You know what's different? Mishum Dehavalei Asay She'en Shava V'Koil. It's such a unique Asay, not pertinent and not applicable to anybody else except for a Kohen Gadol. It carries less weight, so to speak, and even Rabbi Kiva would agree. In this case, Kiddushin is Teifis. But according to Rabbanan, not only is Kiddushin Teifis by Isser Asay the Kohen Gadol, a regular Isser Asay, even going to be Teifis by a Lois Asay. Rabbanan asks the Gemara, Ademuki la b'chayave lavin. Who says that pasuk is Yana le'ish, denoting that there was something improper, but still there is Kiddushin, is referring to a case where they transgressed a lav, Nukman b'chayave asay. Perhaps it's limited to an Isra asay. There, Kiddushin is Teifis, but not by a lav. Well, Hanias chayave asay b'may ninu. Give me an example of chayave asay. Ishtei mitzriyos. This guy has two women, right? Ki siyanu lish shtei nashim. They're both converts from Egypt within the first 3 generations. They're Asr Asay. Well, then in that case, Shtei and Snois, they're both disliked to Hashem, meaning the Isra applies to both equally. Why are we describing it as only one disliked? Oh, maybe this fellow married a regular Israelis, that's Ahuva, and Mitzvahs, that's Snua. Well, that can't be. Shtei Nashim Echad Be'inan. The pasuk says, Shtei Nashim, they're both in the same boat. Not one this and one that. Okay, so it doesn't work. Another option of an Isra Asay, Ibu Lula Kohen Gadol. This fellow is a Kohen Gadol. He married 2 women. One is a Basula, one is a Ba'ula. Achas Ahuva, one is a Snur. Well, unlikely, because the pasuk does not make any mention to Kohen Gadol. Miksiv Tiyanu L'Kohen. The pasuk says Kisiyanu L'Kohen. Tiyanu L'Ish. A regular, ordinary Yisrael. So the only way to dress up this pasuk, only way to explain this pasuk, is as follows. It's a Yisrael who married 2 Israelis. One of them is Asr Tem Balav. And we see the Kiddushin is Teifis. For Rabbi Akiva, however, Rabbi Akiva, who said Kiddushin is not Teifis by Isra Lav, this pasuk, it's talking about a Kohen Gadol married a Ba'ula. But Rabbi Akiva Baal Karchich, even though it's an unlikely scenario, the pasuk doesn't seem to be speaking about a Kohen Gadol. You have to say that's the only option for the pasuk. Baal Karchich Shavke L'Kro. Leave the pasuk. David Dachik Umuke Nafshe. The pasuk is sort of causing us to learn it with difficulty. Basically, I would agree that typically the pasuk would have to explain itself, but here there's no choice other than explaining the pasuk in this way. We're left with no options. We ran out of choices. And Rashi explains because we have that pasuk by Yevama, who's an Isra Lav. The pasuk says there's no Kiddushin there. It says Rabbi Akiva. Well, based on that, we know Chayav v'Lav and have no Kiddushin. And when there is a pasuk that indicates otherwise, it must be a unique case, an Isra Asay, specific to a Kohen Gadol, which is a very limited Asay, which can allow for Kiddushin to be Teifis. So bottom line, an Erva, Mises Bezin, Karis, can Kiddushin be Teifis? Answer is no. We have two possible sources. Yesterday's source from Yonis Hekesh, and today's source from Yevama. What about Isra Lav? According to Chachamim, Kiddushin is Teifis, except for Yevama, whereas according to Rabbi Akiva, it's not. Regarding Isra Asay, we had 2 opinions here regarding Rabbi Akiva. According to one opinion, all Isra Asays have Kiddushin. According to the other opinion, they don't, except for the Kohen Gadol with a Ba'ula. And now the final segment of the Mishnah, V'chol mi she'ein lo olav v'alacherim Kiddushin, havlad kamoisa. You have a woman who cannot tolerate Kiddushin. She's not a Kiddushin candidate, not to him, not to anybody else. Ve'ezeh, for instance, Vlad Shifcha v'Nachrus. You have a Isha is a Shifcha, a non-Jewish maidservant, or Nachrus, a plain non-Jews. So she can't have Kiddushin. And if somebody interacts with her, her child identifies with her. He becomes an Eved in the case of a Shifcha, or he's a Goy in the case of a Nachrus. Ask the Gemara, how do we know this? Shifcha Knanis Minola. How do we know that a Shifcha Knanis cannot have Kiddushin? Amar Rav Huna Makro. This is Avram Avinu addressing Ishmael and his slave Eliezer when he was leaving them to go do Akedas Yitzchak. Shvulochem Poima Chamar. Go, sit with the donkey. So he was equating an Eved, Eliezer, to the donkey. Im hadoim l'chamor, or am hadoim l'chamor. You're a nation that are compared to Chamor, meaning you're my possession. Just like Kiddushin cannot be toifes on a Chamor, likewise on an Eved or a Shifcha. Okay, so now we know that Kiddushin cannot be toifes on a Shifcha. What about the next point? That a Shifcha has a child, that child is like her, he's an Eved. How do we know that? The Pasuk says, the Pasuk speaking where the master, the owner of an Eved Ivri, a Jewish slave, was meyached to him a Shifcha Knanis, paired him up with a non-Jewish maidservant. What happens to those children born from that union? Even when the Eved Ivri goes free after 6 years of work, the Shifcha stays by her master, and likewise her children, because they relate to her. They don't identify with the father. Okay, so we've addressed the Shifcha Knanis, both aspects we have learned now, no Kiddushin and V'loda Kamoisa. Nachrus Minolan, how do we know the same two things apply to a non-Jewish woman, a regular Nachrus? Amakra, Loisis Chatein Bam. Don't have marriage with them, with non-Jewish women. The fact that the Pasuk chooses Loisis Chatein as a way of describing the Isser teaches us that there's no concept of chasnus, of marriage between yourself and a guy. Now we know there's no Kiddushin. What about the other point? That if there is a matchup between a Yisrael and a Nachrus, the child is considered a guy. Minolan, how do we know that true? That's true. The Pasuk says, in warning against interacting with Goyim, Damakra, Ki Yasir is bincha me'acharai. So be careful. Don't allow your daughter to marry a guy, because he's going to have your son, in this case it's your grandson, born from your daughter with a guy, going to have him stray from you, veer him away from you, from me, from Hashem. Ki Yasir is bincha me'acharai. He's going to veer your son away from the Jewish faith. So we learn from here that even if this child born to a non-Jewish father, the child relates to his mother and is considered Yisrael. And in addressing the father, the grandfather, the pasuk relates to this grandson as binchas, your son, because he's Jewish, as opposed to a case where it's the Yisrael's son marrying a non-Jewish woman. There, the pasuk doesn't say anything about her taking your son away from you, because you know why? Because in that case, the son is hers. The child born to a non-Jewish woman is hers, relates to her, is a guy. There's no straying, there's no veering from the Jewish faith. And the fact that Torah is only particular about this scenario, not the other one, indicates that bincha avomi Yisrael is kori bincha. Your child, your son, your grandson, basically, who was born from a Yisrael, a Jewish woman, your daughter. Kari bincha is called your son, relates to your grandfather, the Yisrael, despite his non-Jewish father. As opposed to a child, your grandchild, coming from a non-Jewish woman, who your son married, Kari bincha, it's not called your son. It's not Jewish, it's hers. Because the vlad of a nachris is a nachri. Amar Avina Shmamina, we learn from here, Ben Bitcha, Haba, Minavid Kecham, Kari bincha. If there's a grandson born from a non-Jewish father, he's still called Bincha. He's Yisrael because of his mother. Neima Kasava Ravina, shall we say that according to Ravina, this child is a mamzer? Oived Kechavim. Ve'eved Abba Bas Yisrael. A guy or an Eved who interacts with the Bas Yisrael. Doesn't relate, doesn't identify with the father. He identifies with his mother, who's a Yisraelis. In which case, if it's an improper union, we would say Avlad is mamzer. Is that true? Well, not to that extent. Nida kasher lehavi. I understand that this child is not a kasher. He was born with aver, but mamzer lehavi. Nida kasher lehavi. Mamzer lehavi. Who says he's a mamzer? Mamzer is specific to an isha or Yisraelim who interacted improperly. But when it's a guy who interacted with a Bas Yisrael, despite the fact that it's an Isser and whatever, but it's not going to create a mamzer. A mamzer, it's not just an absence. A mamzer is sort of a improper union within the Yisrael context. Mamzer lehavi pasal mikri. He's called a pasal, but not a mamzer. Asks the Gemara, okay, so we found a source. But hahu b'shiva goyim ksiv, that pasuk there is speaking when you enter Yisrael, be aware of the goyim. So perhaps only there do we say like says chatein preempts any sort of kiddushin with a goy. Hahu b'shiva goyim ksiv sha'urumas minolam. What about other nations of the world? Who says kiddushin is not taifas there? Amakro, the pasuk says kiyaser spincha. Beware, keep your distance, because he's going to take your son away from Yiddishkeit. What's the point of adding kiyaser spincha? The rabbis call mesirim. It's coming to add something. Any situation which creates the same result is problematic, is included in this halacha. Any guy cannot be taifas kiddushin with the Yisrael. That works according to Rabbi Shimon, who hones in on the reasons behind the halachas. Rashi brings some examples. So basically, the reason kiyaser is bincha, the reason why the Torah is warning against interacting with the goyim, because it's going to lead to leading us astray or our children astray, is very much understood on our own. We don't need the pasuk to tell us that. We'll figure it out. Darish Tam of the Kra. It's something we'll do on our own. So why does the pasuk have to add the reason? Well, it's going to lead our children astray. That added pasuk is coming to include and say, well, it's not only directed at the Shiva Goyim, the Shiva Umais, but to all Goyim as well. That's according to Reb Shimon, the Darish Tam of the Cross. So it's unnecessary to explain it, to expound the reason. We know, we figure it out on our own. So the added expression is coming to be Moisif other Goyim. El Rabbanon, according to Rabbanon, we don't just explore the reasons for psukim. So when the pasuk adds a reason, it's necessary. It's trying to explain it. So it's not an extra pasuk. My time is so then according to them, how do we know that there's no kedushin by other Goyim? Amar Kro, we have another pasuk by the Eshes Yifas Toyar, the woman who we encountered during wartime. After she goes through the whole process of gerus, you can interact with her. There is kiddushin. Right? Only afterwards. Apparently, prior to that process, when she's still a guy, there's no kiddushin. So we know there's no kiddushin taifas by a guy. Okay, so we know there's no kiddushin. What about the other idea? That her child relates to her. Pasuk says, when you're married, then the children are yours. They relate to you. When there is a kiddushin option, then the children relate to the father. But a situation which does not allow for kiddushin, such as by a guy, any guy, right? Like we just established, so the child doesn't relate to the father, rather it's misyachas to the mother, relates to the mother. She's a guy, the child is a guy. If that's the case, then why do we need that special pasuk? Ha'isha v'yeladeh, right? Yeladaneh. That the Vlada b'shivcha relates to her. If there's no kedushin, then automatically relates to her. You're right. We don't need the pasuk for that. Why do we need that pasuk? For a different halacha. For the following price. So a person turns to his own maidservant who's mu'beres, who's expecting. He says, Hariat Bascher, and here's a release document. You're free, but your unborn child is going to stay in Eved. Uvladach Eved. Havlad Kemoisa, you can't split the two. She's free, the child is free. No, you can do that. Dvar of Kayamim, his word stands, the child remains in Eved. But the pasuk says, mother and daughter are connected. Til Danel, the Isha and the Yeladim go to the Adain. Now, which Shita are we substantiating? Well, what's this coming to prove? My Talmuda. What does this got to do with? We're assuming it's coming to support the Chachamim, who say that you can split the two. Isha goes free, the Vlad remains an Eved. How do you see that from this pasuk? I'm a Rav. No, Ad Rabbi Saglid is going back on the first Shita. Isha v'Yeladeh, they go together, and whatever happens to the mother happens to the Vlad. If the mother is free, the child is free, and that's what we learn from this pasuk. It's the bottom line. We summarized that first piece already. Now we're going to the second, the last and final concept of the Mishnah. An Isha who cannot have Kiddushin, her child relates to her. For instance, a Shivcha and a Nachris. How do we know there's no Kiddushin? By the Shivcha and the Nachris. So we had the pasuk, Shvilachem em HaChamor. A Shivcha is like a Chamor in this regard. No Kiddushin. What about Vlad Kamoisa? So initially we had the pasuk Isha Viladel, and ultimately we said that since we had another pasuk, we don't need it for that. So what was the other pasuk? So basically we went on to Nachris, and we found the pasuk Yasser is Bincha, etc., which teaches us that a child of a guy belongs to her, and not only by the Shiva Amamin of the Eretz Canaan, all Goyim as well. So that's how we know there's no Kiddushin. That's how we know the child relates to her. What about no Kiddushin? Either Lois is Chaten, or Kisiyena v'yod, or Kisiyena. From B'yifas Toyer, v'achach Tavei Lev Alta. Only after Geras is there Kiddushin. And what about Vlada Kamoisa? So either from Ki Yasir, but that perhaps only applies to the people in Canaan. Rather, we have from the other pasuk Kisiyena v'yod to Yano Kiddushin generates v'yod relates to him. Otherwise, it relates to her, and that covers Nachris, that covers Shivcha. Now we know everything. There's no Kiddushin by Shivcha, by Nachris, and Vladam is Kamoisa. All the best to you and Atzlacha Rabbah.